Hello and welcome to the Aspire Guide to ICT Functional Skills Level 2, looking at the January 2018 past paper. These papers can be found on the resources section of OneFile, from your Aspire tutor, or by searching directly on the Pearson website. In this video we'll be looking at the second half of question 2 from step E onwards, which is using spreadsheets. And in this video we'll be covering the following aims. We'll be using a two-level custom sort. We'll be formatting data correctly. We'll also be creating a suitable chart. So if I open up my question paper, we can see that we've now reached step E. And step E is to sort the data in alphabetical order of first name within alphabetical order of last name. Now this is a common way of phrasing this question in the ICT exam. And what this means is that we want to be sorted by last name first and then by first name second. So let me repeat that. Sorting first name within alphabetical order of last name means sorting by the last name first and the first name second, which can sound a little confusing. If we open up our spreadsheet, this should make more sense in context. So our question asks, sort the data in alphabetical order of first name within alphabetical order of last name. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to highlight all of our data, including the headings. Common trap that people fall into is not highlighting all of the data and only highlighting first and last name. If we do choose to do that, then only first and last name will be sorted and all the other data will stay the same, meaning that we lose the integrity of the data. For example, Kerry Violet's age won't follow. So if we highlight all of our data, I'm going to go up to Sort and Filter in the top right, and I'm going to click on Custom Sort. And you can see by including the headings in my selection, I now have a choice of what I want to sort by. So the question asked for first name within last name, which means we want our last name first. I want it sorted in alphabetical order, A to Z. After that, we're going to go to Add Level, and we're going to select first name. Same again in A to Z order. So I've now got sort by last name and then by first name. I'm going to click OK. We can see that my data is now sorted. And we can also see that entries that have the same last name, for example Blenkinsop, are in alphabetical order of their first names. So all data is in order of last name, and where last name is the same, they're in order of first name. And that completes our first aim, which is using a two-level custom sort. So I can go back to my paper, I can tick off step E for 3 marks. Step F asks us to format the spreadsheet with all currency values to pound with 0 decimal places, and also to add any other formatting so that the worksheet is clear and easy to understand. I'm going to begin with currency values. I'm going to go back to my spreadsheet. I'm going to highlight by clicking and dragging all of the cells in which the values are going to be currencies. So you can see that that's not going to include the age cell. Once I've highlighted everything, I'm going to right click my mouse and I'm going to click Format Cells from the drop down menu. From the Format Cells menu, I'm going to click the category of currency and I'm going to reduce the decimal places to 0. And when I click OK, you can see that Excel has now added a pound symbol and formatted all these currency values to 0 decimal places. And step F2 also asks us to add any other formatting so the worksheet is clear and easy to understand. So at the moment we can see that our spreadsheet is quite drab, not particularly user friendly, and this is an area in which candidates often lose 2 or 3 marks by not formatting correctly. So the first thing that I'm going to do is highlight my title. I'm going to make that bold. I'm going to make that larger than the rest of the text. By clicking in there, I can also choose to add a cell colour, which in this case is going to be light blue. I'm going to do the same for my headings. It's important to differentiate headings from the rest of the text. So I'm going to make that bold, slightly larger, and I'm also going to give it a blue colour. You'll also notice that some of the information in the cells doesn't quite fit the space that's given. This is a common formatting error, and the way that I'm going to fix it is by going to this small triangle in the top left between A and 1. I'm going to click that once, and that's going to highlight all of the cells within my spreadsheet. I'm going to go to between A and B until my mouse cursor turns into 2 black arrows pointing in opposite directions, and I'm going to double click. And by double clicking, the spreadsheet automatically fills any data in the cells and stretches those cells so that everything is viewable. So we can see I can now see all the data clearly. Finally, the last thing I'm going to do is highlight all of my data again, and I think I'm going to add some borders using the border button here. And you can see I've made a few simple formatting choices there, and now my spreadsheet is much more user friendly and much more easy to read. Again, there's no right or wrong way to do this, so long as the spreadsheet is easy to read after you finish formatting it. You can choose and play around with it however you feel. So I'm going to go back to my exam paper. I'm going to tick off F 1 and 2 for another 3 marks. And that completes our second aim of formatting data correctly. So if we turn to our last step in question 2, step G, this asks us to create a suitable chart to show the age of each person on the O-band trip. It asks us to identify each person by their first name and also to format the chart again so that it is clear and easy to read. And this chart is going to be saved as a separate worksheet. Now this question is 5 marks and is often another area where people lose out on 2 or 3 marks. So it's important to get this correct. First of all, we need to be making a chart that shows the age and the first name of every person on the trip. I'm going to go to my spreadsheet, and we can see I've got a column first name here, and I've also got a column age here. Now the problem that I run into if I want to highlight both of these is that Excel also highlights the cells in between those. So I've now got last name highlighted, which I don't want. So to get around that, I'm going to click into first name, drag down and highlight just first name. I'm going to go to my keyboard and I'm going to hold down the control button, which is in the bottom left of your keyboard. Keeping that button held down, I'm going to click into age and also drag that down. And you can see that allows me to highlight just first name and just age without the cells in between. So once I've highlighted the specific information that I want, I'm going to go to the ribbons at the top, I'm going to click on Insert, and I'm going to go to the Chart section. It's important to notice at this point that I'm using the most up-to-date version of Excel. Depending on the version of Excel that you're using, this may look slightly different, so it may be worth familiarising yourself with your own version. Now I'm going to choose a bar chart or a column chart. And I'm going to click on that, and you can see that Excel has created that for me using each of the first names of all the people. So I've created a suitable chart that shows the age, and each person is identified by their first name. The next step in step G is to format the chart so that it's clear and easy to read, and this is the most common area where marks are lost. If I go back to my spreadsheet, what I need to make sure is that all relevant chart elements are included, and that includes things like an appropriate title and appropriate axis labels. So it's important to go into the title that's been given and to make that specific to the tasks that you have. So this is not just age, this is age of ban trip visitors or something similar. So I've given my chart a specific title. Once I've done that, I can go up to Add Chart Elements, and this is where I can choose to turn on or turn off the different titles or labels. So I'm going to choose a horizontal axis label, which is names or name. I'm also going to choose a vertical one, which is, which if I click into it, should be age. And we can see now that my chart has all the required elements. It's got a title and it's got data labels. Sometimes you may notice that a chart will include by default a legend. Now in this particular chart there is no need for a legend because each name only has one colour associated to it. So if that is not appropriate for your chart, it's important to make sure that the legend is deleted. Finally, the last step is to save that chart as a separate worksheet within ICT L2. Currently this is in the payments worksheet. Now to move this to its separate worksheet, I'm going to hover over, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to go down to the Move Chart option. After clicking that, I can choose New Sheet, and I may even give that sheet a title. I'm going to click OK, and you can now see that Excel has put the chart into its own separate sheet for us, including the title and axis labels. So I can go back to my question paper and I can finally tick off the last step of step G for 5 marks. And this meets our final aim of creating a suitable chart. So to recap, some common traps that people fall into on this question are not selecting all of the associated data to sort, that is, only selecting small sections of it, which means that the rest doesn't move when you're sorting. Using insufficient or unclear formatting. So we can see that just by having a few choices of bold, some colour and some cell borders, I've made this much easier to see and to read. And finally, the third common trap, not including all suitable chart elements. So suitable chart elements are a specific title, data labels, and a legend if a legend is appropriate. If a legend is not appropriate, we take that off. And that meets all of our aims and objectives for question 2.